Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Jimmie. So, as far as your team, like, are you invigorated with the challenge? Just what's your mentality at the moment?
And I'm excited, invigorated, exhausted. All of it. It has been really an exciting adventure that I've embarked on here, and to learn from Maury Gallagher, to be a part of this great team, and learn from everyone that I'm surrounded by. I'm in a whole new element here, and it's been very exciting to be in a new element. At the same time, there's some foundational pieces coming together for us, decisions that we're making that will really help the team grow in the future. And then we have our job at hand in the situation and environment that we have at hand to deal with in the 2023 season. So it depends on the hat that I'm wearing in some respects, but there's been a lot of work, but a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, and I truly feel like I'm a part of something that's really going to be a force in the future of NASCAR.
I believe you're supposed to leave for France on Monday. So what will you do if this race gets pushed to Monday?
Yeah, we've been talking to the ACO. The reason I need to arrive early is to run in their simulator and learn their procedures and protocols. It's much different than anything else I've done before. So we've notified the ACO. They're aware of the potential rain delay and the fact that I might arrive to Paris later than my scheduled session on Wednesday morning. And it appears they're willing to work with us and try to figure out how to get me some sim time on Thursday or Friday or even Wednesday evening. My flight just gets in late and has me behind schedule. So we're actively working on that and feel really good about our options.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right. Our next question will go to Steve Reed with the AP. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Jimmie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, just wonder, just back here to racing at Charlotte, we've had so much success. What went into that decision, and what are your emotions heading into the weekend if we do get to go racing?
Yeah, for me, it's really been about identifying the marquee races around the world and trying to figure out how to run in them. And Le Mans is a great example of that. Daytona 500, Coke 600. These are the marquee events, and very thankful of the opportunity I have to race this weekend. I feel about as ill prepared for a race as I ever have in my life, though. With the threat of rain and not getting any seat time in a next gen car on this particular track. I ran a couple hours out in Phoenix before the season started to get a feel for things, and that's my only oval experience. Comparable oval experience, although it's still pretty different. I was hopeful to get some laps today. The way that sim time works out and what's available to the team, I think I made 30 or 40 laps a couple of weeks ago, and was very hopeful that today I could be on track and develop a feel for the car and an idea of what to expect. I don't think that's going to happen, and it appears I'll just go in green, and thankfully it's a 600-mile race, and I'll be able to get some reps and get to that first stage, regroup, get the second stage, and then of course try to work my way forward.
All right, we'll continue with questions. We'll go to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us, Jimmie. Wanted to know how the dynamic has changed with Chevrolet since the announcement that Legacy will be going to Toyota.
And we've had a lot of conversations, and on both sides, working very hard to close out 23 as strong as we can. We have a relationship with Chevrolet, and then also a relationship with Richard Childress Racing, and Legacy Motor Club, and those other two entities. There's a lot going on, but everybody is truly putting their best foot forward and trying to provide what is to be expected for the contracts for Legacy Motor Club in 2023. But it's not ideal by any means, but we really felt like it would be important to announce early. Rumors were starting to circulate about our involvement, our potential involvement with Toyota in the future. And the way that Maury likes to handle things, as do myself, let's just pull the cover off this and and address things head on. And then that's what we've really done. And I've been very proud of our group and also everyone at RCR and Chevrolet.
And am I correct that Joe Gibbs Racing provides your pit crews, or you have some sort of agreement with JGR for your pit crews?
We
currently?
do, ironically, yes. We did not elect to have our own pit stop program for the 23 season, and went out and shopped and found what fit us best from an over-the-wall standpoint at Joe Gibbs Racing. I guess that decision was probably made in really before my time last year, even coming on board. So that was a decision made towards the end of 22 that, now as it turns out, we'll essentially be in the same camp next year.
And one more, if I may, what have you learned about Eric and Noah since coming on board at Legacy?
I think Eric continues to show me just how good he is. He's been in some challenging circumstances this year and keeps his head on, focuses and executes and gets the job done. I've really been impressed with, his ability to stay calm and execute and just how good he is. With Noah, from afar watching him, I wasn't sure how serious he kind of took his job in this sport. I knew that he was fast. I knew that he liked to have fun. And I can say in the short time I've really worked with him closely, he still has those two elements, but his desire to be as good as he can at this sport has really impressed me. So I guess ultimately his commitment to his craft is what's impressed me the most.
Thanks, Champ. Thanks, Amanda.
All right, our next question will go to Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Hey, Jimmie, hopefully you can hear me.
Yep, gotcha.
So you were talking a minute ago about being ill-prepared for this race. I'm curious, after 2 years away and you come back and it's a new car, and again, just the time away, when you come back and run these races, the few that you've done so far, do you feel like Jimmie Johnson, the 7-time champion, or do you feel like you're a rookie again and you're way behind everybody else?
Well, Daytona was nice where we had a bit of practice and had a qualifying race to work through and feel things out. So I got into the rhythm. I started to feel much like myself. The package for plate racing, even with the Gen 6 car versus the next gen car, pretty darn close. I mean, they're a lot's the same. So that wasn't all that different. I rolled into COTA thinking, all right, it's going to be like Daytona. And I was sorely mistaken for that. These cars really do drive much differently. The mechanical grip level versus the aero grip is much different. The shocks and the way the internal bump stops work, in addition to the external bump stops on the car, none of that was taking place when I was in the car last. And man, the car drives so much different as a result. So I am really underprepared or ill-prepared for this weekend's race. It is sad to me that in today's world, we can't go test to get ready for a race. Then a qualifying session, practice session rains out, you get 0 track time. You have to depend on the simulator. We're very low on the totem pole with resources and sim time. And, I get 30 laps of sim time to get ready for a race. So, again, it's a 600-mile race. I'll make the best of it. But just logically, as I think through how big our sport is, how big this race is, how big the opportunity is, it's crazy that I can't get properly prepared for this race.
And then you've spoken before about you're trying to do races that are either at tracks you enjoy or bucket list items. So is there a balance between your competitive nature and also just trying to have fun and maybe learn something to help the organization?
Yeah, I really do find that I'm thinking more about what's best for the company than what's best for me as the racer, especially coming back to NASCAR. My last 2 years in IndyCar and sports cars, I was much more selfish and much more in that traditional headspace as a driver and ultimate speed, ultimate fun. How can I do, all those aspects? Where now, when we take the 84 car to the track, is it hurting our program or is it helping the program? And if so, in which ways? When you think about crew personnel and inventory of parts and pieces, that's one conversation. Notoriety, popularity, sponsorship dollars, all those other aspects are another conversation. So, we're always weighing the pros and cons out. And, here before long, we'll start thinking about 24 and what races make sense for me. And then I honestly feel like getting through this weekend is going to help be a big step in me deciding. We chose a lot of road course races for me in 23, trying to help Legacy Motor Club get better on road courses. And we feel like we've seen some gains from that, especially the time I've been able to spend with Noah and Eric, going to the sim, going to a driving school, driving some other cars, and really just kind of spending time together and honing that craft. This will be my first proper oval. And depending on how that experience goes, I think will give us a better place to decide from looking at 24.
And then real quick, I just want to ask, how different is that to be thinking again, big picture, than your competitiveness of, again, when you were here for so long, it was all about winning races and winning championships.
Yeah, it's different. I'm evolving mentally, maybe a little quicker than I give myself credit for, would have thought of. I guess I'm probably 6 months in a sense into this new role. And in 6 months time, I've been able to really transition into this, the thought process that I'm in now versus that selfish driver.
Thanks, Jimmie.
Yep.
All right, our next question will go to Reed Spencer. Go ahead, Reed.
Yeah, hi, Jimmie.
There we go.
Now that Le Mans is just right around the corner, are you starting to get any butterflies yet?
Yeah, I'm excited. I was busy packing my suitcases before we jumped on this call, so it's feeling very real. It's here. I'm very excited for the opportunity. I honestly don't know what to expect. I know once I get to the racetrack and pick up the energy and the vibe of a race weekend, the butterflies will kick in. But right now, it's just great excitement and curiosity of what's ahead.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next question, Greg Engel with Forbes. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, I hope you can hear me. I'm kind of a fly on the fly there.
Gotcha.
You talk about, we ask you about how's Eric doing and how's Noah doing and things. What's it like to be you at this point, to be a mentor to somebody and to impart your knowledge onto other drivers and other, members of NASCAR? Like, people mentored you when you first came in. What's that like? Is it kind of surreal, or?
Yeah, it is surreal, but it's hard for me right now. I don't have a lot of time in the next gen cars, so I don't know how relatable my advice is, and I've been careful to overdo it, and I've kind of spoken to Eric and Noah around more of the track and what I saw the track, how I'd see the track evolve, the way I would attack certain corners, and of course, preface with like, hey, I don't have a lot of time in these cars, but this is what I look for. These were the trends that helped me at these particular tracks. And then, not only at track, but away from track, and knowing what their loads, what their roles and responsibilities are, what their workload is during the course of a week, and trying to offer, advice and trends that helped me deal with a long career in NASCAR. And to that effect, very thankful that Amy Stock is involved, that John Lewinson, people that worked so close with me through my 20 years in this sport, and we can all mentor and help. Noah probably a little bit more. Eric's certainly a veteran at this point, but we're able to mentor as a group, and then I can as an individual on a much broader spectrum than really just in the car at the track.
Jimmie, thank you, my friend. Have fun next weekend at Le Mans. I'm extremely jealous, but I'll be cheering you on, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to go back. Bob Pockris, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I did, Jimmie. What's your biggest worry going to Le Mans? Like, what's keeping you up at night, if anything?
For me, I am concerned about the top division surprising me in the car somewhere in one of these corners. All the sports car racing I've done to date, I have been in the fastest car. I've only had to worry about looking out the windshield and really not, on a consistent basis being passed. In the GT category, plus, you look at us in our Garage 56 category, our car is going to create a lot of its lap time on the straightaways. We lack in the corners. So I'm nervous about traffic in general. I'm nervous about one of these prototypes going up unexpected as I'm committing to a corner and I'm not sure they're going to be there and they shoot for a gap that's closing. So, my fears really are about awareness of mirrors and getting a true understanding of where we're vulnerable, how quickly these cars approach. Then you have the night elements. And from what I understand, the prototype headlights are so bright, and really all the cars have such bright lights because there's very little track light that you don't have a great sense of depth when a car is approaching you because their lights are so bright. So it's kind of all in that traffic phase, certainly at night in traffic. And I'm eager to get there and get a sense of, and then they have some night running. And within that, I can get a much better idea as well, and work through that.
And I know it's still a couple of weeks away, but do you have any sense of like, are you looking forward to it? Like where does it compare to going into the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, going into like trying to win a 7th title? Like, do you have any sense of where it sits?
It feels really special. I mean, my thoughts really have been on this weekend. We've got a 600-mile race here in Charlotte and Club Wyndham on board, and extremely excited about that relationship and hopeful to have a good running. Run the top 10, top 15 would be an awesome goal for us in the 600. And so I've largely been focused there. There's this great excitement in the back of my mind, and I know that I'm going to jump on a plane Monday or Tuesday and fly across the pond and get into it. But it's just really exciting, but so many unknowns. So it's hard to really quantify what I'm going to go embark on.
All right. And Steve Reed, did you have a follow-up?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm sorry. My hand
Okay,
was
no
up.
problem. Just wanted to double check. All right. Well, Jimmie, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for spending some extended time with us as well. We wish you the best of luck this weekend and best of luck in the coming days and next week as well.
Cool. Thank you. See everybody soon.
Thank you. And to all the media who joined us as well, I will have a recording of this session available. I will work to get it to you guys, but if you need it, you do not hear from me, please reach out. I'll be happy to send you the link.